It is 7:17 and you're listening to the evening edition with Lynn and Sharmila. So it feels like we've been talking about 5G for a while, and it's going to be a while yet before it actually reaches us, because as of now, none of our major telcos have agreed to use the network.
Yes, and reportedly this is due to issues with transparency as well as pricing. So DNB told Reuters that they still hope to launch the 5G services in 3 urban centers. They did say, though, that no agreement with carriers have been reached, and they acknowledge that that initial timeline for negotiations might have been too optimistic. So now the agency is looking to have formal long-term agreements at the beginning of next year, and will continue to deploy 5G services in 3 central areas, including KL, next month.
So on that point about transparency and pricing, again, this is what's been reported. Carriers are concerned that the 5G plan would result in a nationalised monopoly, thereby hurting business, limiting access to future technology, for instance. And I mean, this is where it stands at the moment. Like we said, this is something that is long running at this point. It feels as if we've been discussing what's going to happen with this network for some time. And the way I am curious to know how this is going to affect us as consumers, because I haven't necessarily been waiting around for 5G to come along and save me. But then again, I am not an avid tech user, nor does my business, for example, rely on it. So I might be an outlier. I'm not sure.
I mean, it comes back, I think, to, I think my feelings about this are less to do with what 5G could offer me in terms of tech, and more, I think, concerns about exactly what the carriers say, monopolization, what that means in terms of the both sustainability and continued commitment to the service. So these are things I feel that more transparency would definitely be welcome.
How many times in a week can we worry about a monopoly? That's the question. This comes up an awful lot. So let us know, do you care about getting 5G? This is a question that we're asking because as of now, none of our major telcos have agreed to use the network. So the plans to roll it out have hit quite a large roadblock. You can weigh in by calling 77332900, WhatsApp 018-789-8899, tweet us at BFM Radio. Joining us now to discuss this is CF Fong, founder of cybersecurity consultant for LGMS. Fong, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Sharmila.
So we mentioned earlier the DNB and where they enter in this. Can you break down what it is and how it's involved in the country's 5G rollout?
Well, I'll be speaking as one of the consumers, right? So DNB is a special purpose vehicle, SPV, that was set up by the government earlier this year to build and manage the 5G network. So it is like as if they are one of the appointed company by the government to build and manage the 5G network, meaning that, i.e., if any telcos are to come into the business of providing 5G services, they will need to get the approval or buy the services from DNB. Now, I think there are some concerns here. I mean, from media and then all we can access to. Basically, at DNB, one of the concern is that DNB is not regulated like the telcos. They're not regulated under MCMC, Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commissions. So there are quite a number of questions also asking about how DNB evaluate and also how DNB award the 5G tenders to the suppliers. So as a market player, right, telcos become a backseat passenger instead of instead of front seat driver. So I think these are some of the issues now what we are looking at.
So how do telcos enter the picture, and why have they struggled to come to an agreement on using the government's 5G network?
Well, I can't speak for the telco, of course, right? So from what we can access is that I would like to use a simple analogies. Just assuming all of us are farmers, right? We can buy our own land from the government and grow crops from our land. Now, when we have the land, we can be as innovative and as aggressive as we can. Right, we can determine how we can grow our crops, what kind of crops that we are planting in, and there will be a lot of healthy competitions among us, like among the farmers. Now, the situation right now is that the government said, look, I'm going to give out the land, but Instead, I'm going to give it to one single company, and this single company is going to work on the land. The company is going to decide how the land is going to be utilized, and all of you farmers, you're going to buy from this company. Now, when we have this kind of situation as a consumer, I think logically we will have a concern already. Now, first of all, telco will face the challenges in business differentiation, because all of the basic infrastructure, everything on the 5G network, they will need to get it from DNB, from one and only company that was appointed by the government. Now, there's also a question about healthy competitions. How are the telcos going to be competing among themselves? And particularly, they can't set up any business differentiations, right? So that if you don't have a business differentiations, obviously we can't drive innovations, and we can't give more values to the consumers. So this, this is an analogy that I can use to talk about this topic.
So ultimately, how might this delay affect us as consumers?
Well, personally, like what Lin said, I think most of us are not really that critical in terms of chasing on 5G adoptions. But however, 5G is really it's an important platform to drive the IoT adoptions. It's also a very important platform when it comes to the bandwidth, better bandwidth, and shorter latencies for us in the future. But then again, looking at the technology of 5G, we also need to realize that 5Gs are typically feasible to be implemented in highly dense urban areas. Now, even from what we have right now, and I'm sorry to say that in many urban areas, we are still facing challenges in accessing 3 and 4G. So I think right now, the telco, of course, have their concerns about the monopolization of one single company. But I think for the telco is that I hope the telco can further improve what we have right now, the 3G and 4G, before the time of 5G is coming.
So what might happen next?
It's really hard to tell, but I'm hoping that the government would consider having a more flexible, more open space for the telco to play a part when it comes to building the 5G network, instead of monopolizing, having a SPV to monopolize the entire building and maintenance of the 5G network.
So let's dial it back a bit, right? Why are we making huge investments into 5G, and ultimately, what is it going to enable?
Well, like I said, 5G is going to serve as a foundation for many of us in the future to come, because 5G, if we are implemented in a systematic manner, right, it can really change our lives. The way how we do telemedicine, the way how we live our lives. Where 5G can be seen to be implemented in autonomous driving, into smart prediction of traffic, where we can get to implement into many IoT sensors, and that's where we can build our smart cities. It's just that for now, I think we have bigger problems that need to be solved right now, than at least to improve our fundamental 3 and 4G first. Of course, this is my hope that the telco will listen to this and improve our current network first.
So is there currently a need for this?
Personally, I don't see an immediate need for 5G right now. But then again, we can't be the showstopper to stop the development of 5G. But the essential part of this is that if we are going to continue with one single entity and SPV, right, my concern is that we may not see a lot of innovations coming out from the telco. Basically, telco may find it unattractive, to roll out 5G for the country. Then, in a way, it's also going to impede our digital adoptions as an overall.
Fong, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was 𝗙cie Fong, founder of LGMS, weighing in on a recent story to do with 5G, because essentially none of our major telcos have agreed to use the network. There are concerns around transparency, around pricing, around even a nationalised monopoly. So yeah, it's going to be a while more before we see anything come our way. And by our way, I mean really the consumers, the people who would be benefiting from it, I suppose. But let us know. I mean, do you care about getting 5G? Is this something that you think about? Or like Fong mentioned, are you still worried about actually your access even to 3 and 4G within an urban setting? Because I can say I definitely am. I don't even get 4G on a